Okay, so we're playing the Seven Seas. Ta-da, Seven Seas. No, it's not appearing because background. If I hold it right in front of me, there you go. Seven Seas, there you go. Nice. Which I backed as a Kickstarter originally when it came out because we had played Seven Seas First Edition quite a bit, actually, and it was good fun. Anyway, I haven't done much since. I attempted one campaign and it kind of fell apart. It wasn't my thing, I don't think. So the Seven Seas is a kind of magical reimagining of sort of, I guess, really sort of between 16th and 17th century Europe, probably more 17th than 16th, because it also has the Enlightenment playing pretty hard through the narrative and the structure. And it's a kind of reimagined Europe, the bit that we're playing. There are extensions which go all the way to the New World and have Maya and Aztec and other groups. And there's also the Crescent Empire, which is kind of an analog for, the Ottoman Empire of the period and similar things. But we're just playing in the European bit. Your characters are in the Summation Commonwealth, and the best analog for the Summation Commonwealth is actually the sort of Lithuanian, Polish kingdom of the 16th and 17th century. So surprisingly powerful, a very powerful noble class. So really important point is that the king actually holds limited authority within the structure. The nobles do most of the running of the country, particularly the dukes and the duchies. The parliament is made up purely of nobility. And for a whole stack of reasons, mostly to do with competing personal interests, very little. So the Commonwealth depends on a noble party, a noble parliament, to enact changes and taxation and do all the other things. So it's got a, actually for the period, it's got a kind of reasonably robustly functioning parliamentary kind of model. The thing is, any noble can veto. So you have to get everyone to agree or everyone to abstain at least. So basically nothing has been working and the Summation Commonwealth has been slowly collapsing as a result. However, the prince, Alexei, has found a loophole in the problem and has convinced his dying father to use the one royal prerogative that the nobility cannot veto. That is, the king can make anyone a noble. So last night, whilst dying of old age and disease, Alexei convinced the king to make every person in the Summation Commonwealth a noble. So every peasant, every merchant, every soldier, every sailor, every member of the Summation Commonwealth citizenry will be a noble in 30 days.
Or your money back.
Or your money back.
Branch stack.
Do they all
That's all I have to say.
Do they all have to agree?
No, well, so here's the thing. So noting that the nobility cannot stop the ennobling of the entire peasant class, the king then offered the parliament the opportunity to remove the right to veto. Because obviously, if they don't, in 30 days, anything that they want to happen can be blocked by a single citizen of the Commonwealth.
Nice.
So the good news is the parliament has met today and removed, by dint of legislation, the parliament's right to veto any piece of legislation on the basis of a single vote.
Nice.
It seems sensible.
So in 30 days' time, the Summation Commonwealth will be a kingdom of nobles, in the literal sense of the word. As every person in the kingdom will be a noble. So this is where we find ourselves. So that was the kind of intro. What I'm going to do before we get you to introduce your characters to everyone else with a little bit more detail is just a very quick rundown of the way the rules work in 7 Seas, and this will be the most basic description of the rules. We won't be going into lots of complexity here. Okay, so the mechanic is a dice pool. Roll d10s or use the character sheets in Foundry, which will auto-roll. The way you determine what goes into your dice pool is you combine an attribute and a skill. So Exhibit A, if you have, and sorry, I'll just get up a character sheet so I'm talking from some degree of confidence. So you can combine finesse and the skill empathy to be subtle in your engagement with someone and to seek to gather information. So the point being, you can combine any trait with any skill. There's not a direct relationship. Obviously, some will be more natural than others. Brawn and weaponry, finesse and weaponry are pretty common, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. So you choose what trait you combine with what skill, and that represents your approach to resolving the challenge or the risk that I will be placing before you. That then allows you to pool your dice and roll them. For every total you can make up to 10, you get what is called a raise. So if you roll 4 dice, which I will now do for the sake of illustration, and I roll a 10, 2 4s and a 3, obviously the 10 is a raise, and then I combine the 2 4s and the 3, which gives me an 11, to get another raise. So I have 2 raises coming off the back of that dice roll. Now, I spend a raise through either rounds or scenes, depending on what type of encounter or activity we're running. So rounds are more targeted. They're the action sequence, so they're more targeted at what they sound like. They're targeted at resolving things in the immediate. So most combat is resolved through an action round, but so is leaping out of a window to escape a burning building or to jump across from one ship to another and board the ship and all of those sorts of things, or sailing a ship even in a combat. A dramatic scenario or dramatic round is sort of longer vision, longer term. So for instance, the example given in the rules is you might all be, you know, wanting to break in and get some information about a particular crime. There's an ambassadorial sort of site. You have to sort of break in, you have to find the information, you have to, you know, evade the guards, and you might have to also unlock the safe. Now that's 4 raises. And the way that works is, once again, you combine a trait and a skill, you roll them, you get the maximum number of raises you get, and you then spend those raises to achieve an outcome through that dramatic purpose. So you might spend a raise to, you know, sort of scramble into the building. You might spend a raise to evade the guards. You might spend a raise to break open the safe. Now, if you've got skills of greater than 3 or 3 and greater, you have additional effects that you can apply to your dice roll. I think some of you have got skill ranks 3. So a skill rank of 3 will allow you to re-roll one of the dice that you roll when you roll your pool. So if you get a 4 and you don't like this 4, you can re-roll it. I got a 5, so it didn't really move the needle, but it's an option. So that's how raises work. What happens with raises is I give you risks and consequences. So risk is I'm going to jump across the burning building. Consequence is if I fail to roll, if it's 2 wounds to sort of cross the flaming mess. For each raise that you spend in doing something, you can actually reduce the consequence. So if it was 2 wounds, it would cost you 2 raises to completely avoid being wounded. As a small side note for combat is very simple. If you are not specifically talented, and there's a duelist in the party who can do much more damage than anyone else, you basically spend a raise to do a wound to your opponent. That's how it works. So if you're fighting them sword to sword, you can lunge at them with your blade and you cause them a wound. You can then parry with the blade and then lunge again to do another wound. So that's kind of how a sort of fight between two parties works. If you're a duelist, you can actually do 3 wounds in a single strike if you use the right maneuver. So you can be much more effective, particularly in one-on-one combat. Now, just that then leads us to 2 kind of final points, and then I think we can just crack on, have a bit of a go. So one of those things is there are things called hero points, and there are things called doom points, or doom tokens, or whatever they're called. You each start with 1 hero point. That basically gives you a couple of sort of effectively automatic successes. So you can spend and I'll just get the list up because I had it and now I've lost it again. Risks, hero points, hero points, hero points. No, it's always the way, just when you need it. Come on. Oh, hero points. Okay. Using a hero point, you can add a D10 to your roll before a risk. You can add 3 bonus D10s to another hero's roll. But that basically presents as you assist them rather than doing something yourself, but you can actually add 3 D10 to their person. You can activate your special abilities. So most of you have special talents that actually require a hero point to make them active. And finally, if you're knocked out and at risk of dying, you can use a hero point to act despite the fact you are helpless. The way you regain hero points is I can activate your hubris, which is the opposite of your virtue, on your character sheet. You can actually just surrender a success. You can basically say, I just failed. And you don't roll dice, you don't spend raises to overcome the consequence. So effectively you accept whatever the consequence is. And you can gain a hero point by just accepting that outcome. The other way you can gain a hero point is you act in accordance to your quirks. So you all have 2 quirks, I'm pretty sure, one each tied to a background. And finally, I can buy your unused dice. So you can roll dice, and if you don't use them all up to make raises, like I did just then, say you had a 5 that you didn't have anything to do with because you couldn't add it in, I can buy that dice, which I then get to use, but you get a hero point when I do that. So that's how hero points work. The danger pool or the doom pool, sorry, I was playing Conan recently, so doom is in my head. Danger pool basically is kind of the corollary to that. Bad news for you guys. I start with the number of danger points equal to the number of players. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 dice here. Each one represents a single danger point, which I can then spend to do nasty things to you. The last thing I'll mention is wounds. So you have a wound tracker on your character sheet. It is the spiral. It's pretty basic. You basically just tick off the wounds as you accrete them. So if I do your wounds, you tick a circle, until you fill in a number of circles and you hit your first little exploding diagram. That is what is known as a dramatic wound. A dramatic wound has 2 effects. One, it suggests that you're on your way to dying. The other is that when you tick that box, you will actually have, you can take advantage of it. So in the character sheets for everyone, I think, except for the person who's playing the daughter for reasons that are to do with, I had to use a different character sheet. It actually tells you what those effects are. So when you tick off your first dramatic wound, you get to add a D10 to all of your risk rolls. When you tick off your second dramatic wound, I get to apply 2 bonus dice against you. When you tick off your third dramatic wound, all of your 9s count as 10s. So effectively you're getting a raise. So raise is now a 9 or a 10. And then your 4th one, right at the end of the spiral, is you become helpless, taking us back to that hero point comment. The other thing to mention, and it's the only other thing that's worth mentioning, is firearms do dramatic wounds automatically. So if I shoot you with a pistol, or you shoot me, or shoot one of my characters, villains, whatever, with a pistol, that applies a wound per your raises, and it also automatically applies a dramatic wound. So if you're shot with a musket, you will tick the dramatic wound box, even if you have not filled in all of the circles to get to that next dramatic wound. Okay. That's, I mean, we're going to play, but that's the broad brushstrokes of the skill system, the raise system, and how we are going to be progressing with hero points, the danger pool, and wounds. Are there any questions about any of that? And then we can roll on after that.
So many questions. But,
Yes.
but let's play.
Okay, so we, as I've already stated, so Alexi, what was, to ask you straight away, so last night you convinced your father to, you know, to do this thing which you believe will break, you know, the impasse in the Summation Commonwealth, and possibly bring freedom to the people of the Summation Commonwealth, lift up the people so that their voice might be heard by the current powers that be, the nobility. Do you want to give us a quick description of how you think Alexi perceives himself and is perceived by others?
Okay, so I think Alexi is very young and idealistic. He's got a lot of great ideas, but very little practical life experience. So he's got really good intentions in doing this, but yeah, is it going to turn out the way he hopes? Yeah, so I'm kind of imagining that, like, the position of the serfs and peasant class in the Summation Commonwealth is quite similar to that of the Russian peasants of probably, like, what, the 19th, 18th century, where they have almost no freedom, and he wants to change that. The nobility are going to be very angry about this.
And do you think that he understands the extent to which the nobility will be angry?
No. He thinks he'll be annoyed. He does not understand that this is like upending the entire economic basis of his entire country.
Excellent. Okay. Next, we will go to the person that has been most in Alexi's ear about the need to free the people and give them their freedom. Azucena.
Yes, Azucena Esquivel. Azucena, well, has always been fighting against the injustices. She will always step up to the cause of freeing the people, or defending an ideal, usually defending the person with the ideal. So as a bodyguard to the prince, she has a little bit of a whispering in the prince's ear. But yes, she's very, very loyal and very committed to the cause.
And surprisingly small.
And surprisingly small, that's right. A very small stature.
That's
just
right.
A little bit taller than a lily.
That's right. Okay, so next, I think we will go to Ekaterina.
Yeah,
Now, unfortunately, she doesn't have as good a description because I created her as a site because I had to fill in the list.
So Etknava Vinatashtasia is a Eusterian, which is, I think, the 7C analog of Russia.
Correct.
And she is a daughter. So I think the way I've read the kind of pre-gen is she's a progressive spy with some sort of like she's almost like a sort of like a Prince Kropotkin figure, you know what I mean? A sort of born into a Russian or Usurian aristocracy and has spurned it, has basically rejected it to become a sort of revolutionary progressive type spy, sort of you know, a sort of aristocratic Rosa Luxemburg type thing. And she loves taking risks. She always wants to be the first to act like a good revolutionary, and that's one of her virtues. And she's also absolutely relentless. She can't leave things alone. She can't quit when she's ahead. She'll push and push. So she's the perfect person to join a sort of slightly ill-taught political revolution.
Yeah. So she was sent here she was actually her father, the reason she's called the daughter, her father is a very wealthy Assyrian noble.
Okay, that's so she hasn't rejected it.
No, she has rejected it.
Oh,
okay. So he sent her here to kind of promulgate and push for Assyrian interest, which would be to stop the sort of behavior that Alexei is doing, because that's exactly what the Assyrians don't want on their border, a whole bunch of ennobled peasants. And you have rejected it completely and absolutely. You've gone, no. That's a terrible idea. We should do what they said.
Actually, I like the idea of all these nobles being peasants.
That's right. Yeah. So
Exactly.
you're part of the Alexei's inner circle as a result. Like you're the kind of ambassador from Assyria who's basically betraying the Assyrian national interest as perceived by your father.
Yeah. So revolutionary with daddy issues.
That's it. Exactly. Yeah. Revolutionary with daddy issues is the correct term. Okay. Next we have. So Alexei, good news. Your father had arranged a marriage for you with a wealthy Vodacian family, the Vespucci. The Vespucci? I don't know. Can we call it the Vespucci? Vespucci. Let's go with Vespucci.
Yeah.
So Dominica.
I like to think that no one can pronounce it in character.
No.
Yeah.
Everyone in Summation Commonwealth gets your name wrong.
Vespucci.
Oh, except for the Castilian, who, of course,
Yeah.
can speak. Actually, one of you can speak every language. I can't remember who it is, but one of you's got that version.
It's not me.
Actually, it might be Dominica.
Me.
Actually, it might be Dominica.
Yeah, it is Dominica.
Yeah. It is Dominica.
Thank
All right,
you for
Dominica,
saying.
describe yourself.
Yeah.
Not much of a leap, I know, but I am tall and willowy and have flowing black hair, so I have dressed appropriately.
Nice.
I'm 20 years old, very beautiful, and intent on inflicting my vast consumption of adventure romances on the world around me.
Nice. So you basically lived inside the sort of the Vespucci sort of estate, reading books your whole life, and this is your first real get out of town, live your own life thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm obsessed with the melodrama of.
And look at Alexei. I mean, there couldn't be more melodrama than what Alexei is
doing
right now.
It's real.
It's a prince. Yeah, he's ennobling the peasant class. His life is under threat, which you know very well because you've read the fates. So you actually know. Yes, we should make the very important point that Dominica is a sort Strega, so she is a fate weaver. Mm-hmm. All right. Second last is he did have a different name, but it's been shot down in flames.
Changed it.
He's taken on a romantic name from Avalon.
Yeah. Look, I get to do what I want. I just don't. I was called Beatrice in every other game.
That's right. So now you're Bertrand in this
now
game.
I'm Bertrand.
Really stretched yourself there, right? Okay. So Bertrand, you are the older, very protective brother of Dominica. Do
That
you
is
want to
correct.
talk a little about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Bertrand Vespucci. I'm a very famous, very enigmatic, charismatic duelist. I'm the very, very attractive, very very good with crowds. And I've been sent along to make sure that Dominica doesn't get into any trouble. Basically, I'm here to...
You know that's going to be
He's
fatal in
definitely
the
going
end,
to be
don't
in
you?
trouble.
What? Bertrand might die. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm also though happen to be here and I've run into an old friend along the way. I have a good old friend called Roberto Gallo, who is a captain. We used to be inseparable, but we haven't really seen each other in a while because of our duties. So it's nice to get to catch up in this really tense, horrible political climate. I think Bertrand is also very aware of the amount of danger that is everywhere at the moment.
At this point, Bertrand might be the only member of the entire group who's going, so we get that we're in life-threatening danger all over, right? Like you've got romantic witches, you've got princes who think they can change the universe, you've got radicals who want to change other universes, you've got people who are committed to the rising up of the free peoples of the world, and
Indeed. The vagabonds.
protecting nobles who do the right thing. And then you've got a ship's captain who may or may not be under the influence of alcohol. Roberto.
So Roberto is the captain and is very, very glad to see their old friend Bertrand. They don't actually care much for this whole political situation. They're being paid to transport everyone, but they do like a little bit of danger and adventure. That's why they are on the seas as a captain, doing dodgy and not so dodgy work. And they'd rather like to convince Bertrand to come and join them again and just make off with the ship and enjoy the high life on the high seas instead of faffing around with all this politics.
Okay. Well, let's go.
I'd just like to say right now, I think Bertrand is a stage name. I think, I think his real name is Ennio, but he thought Bertrand sounded like fancy and foreign, and made him sound
foreign.
mysterious.
Yeah,
so he makes him he's mysterious now,
Until the first person calls him Bertie.
Yeah, and it's all gone. But you know what?
And on that day, he will resile away. All right.
Yeah.
So you are all gathered in Vasa Castle in the throne room. Your father lies on his deathbed. His last days before him, Alexei. Amongst you, in this motley gathering of fellows, rebels and friends, a prince of Sarmatia, a Vadachi bride-to-be, and her swaggering brother, an entirely honest Castilian sailor, a mysterious stoic bodyguard, and an Asuran wannabe radical. It was here that you were gathering together to discuss the outcome of the day and what needed to be done tomorrow to bring the parliament to heel and to ensure that that the act that you had made stayed through to the end of the month. When suddenly Dominica, Dominica, you get a flash of forward fate, a risk even. You see a flame burst through the room and strike down those standing tall. What do you do?
I will swoon dramatically.
So you collapse to the ground.
Quickly, we must all flee.
All right.
I've had a vision.
What do the rest of you do?
Well,
Bertram,
of
what do you
course-
do?
I mean, I grab Dominica.
Right.
Yeah. She swoons dramatically to the floor.
So you bent down and grab Dominica.
Yep.
Alexi, what are you
Scoop
doing?
her up.
Well, of course I'm going to my bride-to-be and grasping her hand in mine. My dear, tell me, what did you see?
What do you respond with?
Flames as hot as the burning of my desire for you, my prince.
This is going to be awesome. All right.
Those flames do burn hot indeed.
Okay.
Sounding like a con module. We're at a convention.
Azucena, what are you doing?
I race to the window and just kind of look out
Okay,
casually.
so you've raced
do
away
the whole
from the
thing
door
of
towards the window to look out. Are you looking out towards the city, or are you looking towards the inner courtyard of the castle?
I'm looking towards the inner courtyard, the immediate
Excellent.
vicinity.
All right. Roberto, people are running here and forth. Dominica has fallen to the ground, swooning. What do you do?
Sees the overdramatic sister of one of his oldest friends and just prods her with his foot.
Right. Okay. So you're just booting. And
If you committed a foot to it, you could have used
Katarina,
like a
I'm going to
staff or a
just call you
stick or a
Katarina. It's easier for me to remember. Katarina, what are you doing?
I pull out. I take it. I have a pistol. Because I've got
Probably,
skills.
yes. I would imagine that of all of
So-
the members of the group, you are the most likely to have a pistol.
I pull out a pistol. I run to the window and I scream, "Arm yourselves, comrades! The reactionaries are attacking."
Awesome.
Right, I
All
was
right,
going
so
for
you're
more
all
a subtle
scattered to the
look,
four
but anyway.
winds. Some of you are bent down. Some of you are at windows smashing it. Did you go to the inner window that you saw Azucena go to as well?
Yes.
Yes.
window.
Okay. So are you smashing the window out? Like, I mean, is this a moment
Yeah,
where
I smashed it out with the butt of the pistol and I'm just
excellent.
like
So
pointing it.
glass falls towards the inner courtyard. You see figures in black clothing all racing through the courtyard. Looking up, one of them points their musket at you and shouts in a loud voice, It's one of the traitors to the country." And you see them sort of desperately pulling back the trigger on their weapon.
Shoot. Well, I'm gonna shoot straight away.
Right. Okay. So at this point, by the way, you hear running feet. I should explain for the rest of you. You hear loud running feet and shouts of "Get the prince!" from the outer corridor that leads to the throne room that you were gathered in. So what I'm now going to ask you to do is, you can tell that you're under threat. I'm going to ask each of you to now choose what your approach is going to be to dealing with the next, no worries, the next round or two. So have a look at your character sheets and determine what trait and what skill you think will be most appropriate for how you expect your character will react to life-threatening attacks by overly enthusiastic reactionaries. Once you've made that decision, and I will give you, just because we're doing it for the first time, actually, I will give you just enough time for me to go and get my youngest daughter to go to bed. So I'll be back.
Right.
Come on, Alex, resist.
Yes.
Hey, pause it.
I don't know how to
They're
do
watching
this.
Enola Holmes because they're excited for the second movie to come out tomorrow.
Oh well, yeah.
Oh,
you'll
is it
have to
tomorrow?
Mm.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's tomorrow.
Right, I need to get a bit of jumper because this one is too cold.
Those are great books. I was
Mm.
glad they made movies.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Apologies all.
It's all good. We're just deciding what skills we're going to use to react in this scene.
go.
I'm also just gonna pull on a jumper because this shirt was good for the weather outside, but not so much in here.
Come and see me when you're going to bed. Oh my God, someone's putting on an hoodie. It's gone south. All right. And they didn't even hear me say that. Okay, so approach and skill. Has everyone decided what their approach and skill is going to be? Excellent. Okay, very quickly then, going sort of across the screen. Oh, no, actually, we'll start with Katerina because you have decided. So the way this works is you can use the sheet in Foundry and just click on the skill and then you select the trait. And because it's the first time you're rolling this skill in this scenario, because normally it's per session, but our sessions are pretty short, so I'm going to say scenario, you get a bonus dice.
Unfortunately, I can't. I can't see my sheet. Unfortunately.
Oh, hold on. That's my fault, probably. Allow me to fix that now. Is everyone else able to see their character sheet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gotsuki.
Yep.
You
Cool.
should be able to see it now.
Yep. Got it. So I'm going to use aim as a skill.
Yep. And when you select a trait, now normally you would use finesse to go with aim, but I'm happy to be convinced of other things if you think there's something better.
I'm happy. Yeah, let's go with finesse as well. Yeah, I'm trying to pick people off. So yeah,
Yep.
makes sense.
And don't forget to add the bonus dice for the first time that you're rolling.
Just one in the
that
bonus
skill.
dice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 3 raises.
Okay, so just remember that you've got 3 raises for now. And also, as a senior, you've also got 3 raises. Everyone else?
Roll it.
I'll
So this is just our general vibe of how we're doing this fight individually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to use wits and athletics actually to try and make a hole for us to escape through.
Okay. So your intention is to sort of use your smarts and your natural physical talents to kind of find your way out. Yep.
And you
Yeah,
said we get one
and-
bonus dice on this.
You get 1 bonus dice because
Yeah.
it's the first time you've used this skill in this scenario.
Oh,
Cool.
okay. All right, that's cool. Let's do that. Four raises, nice, and 1 unused dice. Okay.
Okay. And Bertrand only got 2 raises, but has 2 unused dice.
Oh, you're one. I got 8. Okay.
I'm not going to be taking anyone's unused dice just yet. But and also note, if you have a skill of 3, you can re-roll a single die.
Mine
okay.
did that
Ah.
automatically.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah, it did it when I clicked on the bar to see what I got. It had something saying that it re-rolled one automatically.
Oh, nice.
To,
Okay.
yeah, so and I'm not sure that you need
Oh,
to
okay.
actually
Oh yeah, I
wow.
see.
Yeah.
Rerolled 5 and got 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, because
Cool.
it re-rolled
Well, that
1
was
and gave
good.
you an 8. So that's where you got your bonus.
I originally rolled a 1, 2, and a 4, and it re-rolled and gave me a 9, 8, and an 8. That's good. Out of
Yeah.
10.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Okay. All right. So the way it works is the person with the most raises goes first. And at this point, that would appear to be the prince. And Los Vagos
And we're
and
yeah.
Azucena has also got 4 raises. So it's normally just let you guys decide who you want to go first. It's completely up to you.
Okay. Well, I
Well-
think I'm going to try and use what was it? It was one of my things. Features? Leadership. No,
That's what we're
that's
missing.
not it. No, I saw something here. I have. No, I don't know. Anyway, I am going to stand up from Dominica and draw my sword and start calling orders to everyone in the room about what I want them to do. And I'm going to like be putting Dominica behind me. And who else is not a combatant?
Dominica.
Just Dominica.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
You've got a
I'm going
ship's
to
It's
just
starting to look like a Mills and Boone novel cover now.
You've got a ship's captain, you've got a professional duelist, you've got a radical Assyrian noble with a pistol in their hands.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't know. No. And you've got your bodyguard who's of course already drawn kind of, sword and dagger and is sort of ready to protect your life, assumedly, while they're smashing through a wall to get you out or something.
Yeah. So we're going to be going out through the secret door behind the throne, of course.
Of course.
But we're going to need to like bar the doors. And I'm going to instruct Ikatanava to fire at will upon those reactionaries attacking us.
Okay.
And anyone else who's got a pistol can do that too.
So the way it works is for each, so you're going first, you get to declare an action that uses a raise. So your action can be, I'm preparing for, like you've done the thing of you're going to, you're protecting with your body Dominica's life. You could also be kind of, racing to the secret door to unlock it because you're probably the only person who knows how to unlock the secret door.
Yeah,
I assume it's a royal secret.
It is. It is. So I'm taking Dominica with me to go and unlock the door.
Okay, so you will use a raise to kind of. So how does the secret door work? How do you imagine this works?
It's going to have a lock that is made from a seal that all the royal household have that they like lock into the seal and then twist.
Okay, so you basically have on because you're wearing a metal breastplate and sort of armored bits and a sword, a big, sort of saber, sort of strapped around because Sarmatian nobles are all about riding horses into combat. They've got the hussar thing going on with the two wings attached to their armor. So you've got a big seal that you press into a lock and you twist it, and the royal seat starts to move out of the way, giving you an access point, a set of stairs going down into underneath the royal chambers and taking you through tunnels to an exit from the castle itself. While that's going on, the other fourth person with 4 raises, Azucena.
I'm basically staying close to them because they're my charge to protect them. So I'm just making sure that their back is covered, and if anybody's looking threatening towards them, I will deal with them.
Okay. So. Suddenly, all right. So at the end of those, so that's those two. Can I get? So the way it works is everyone acts, and then you get the people with the remnant raises get sort of last kind of movements, I guess. So they get the end movements.
Okay.
They go first, but then everyone else moves in rounds. So at this point, there's a mighty. So you've kind of all started to escape. Suddenly, there's an explosion, a giant eruption of explosive force. You feel it through the whole building. The castle itself is under attack, and the doors to the throne room are blasted open with an explosive force.
Oh my God. Stepping
through the burning remnants of the door moments after the explosion, uninjured somehow, is the Duke Casimiras, Marcin Sabat, Now, Alexei, you recognize this man. He is the leader of the most entitled noble faction in the noble factions. He is complete, to quote the term from previously gifted, he is a complete reactionary. He turns to you, points his sword directly at you, Alexei, and in a loud voice, Prince Alexei, I accuse you of treason against this great Commonwealth and its people. And then stepping, suddenly racing around him, you see a crowd, a mass, if you will, of men, dishonorable men, men in black clothing, hiding their true nature and hiding their true allegiances behind these, sort of black overcovers and, afraid of the truth and honesty, charging around him in a mass towards you. At this point, what you're facing is what's called a brute squad. It is literally titled Brute Squad. So basically the way they work is they group up in groups of minions, and for each wound you cause, you knock out a minion. So it's like a one-hit wonder kind of story. But the mobs are made up of sort of a group of people, and obviously they get to roll dice equal to the number of the mob within the mob, and they can take wounds up to the mob and then they fall apart. So they're all sort of, so at this point, you see them charging forward. Because you were sort of saying that your first action was to protect the prince as a Cena, I will allow you to apply a raise to just cause immediate damage to one of the groups as they charge forward, trying to get to the prince. Tell me, what do you do to stop these men, these villains, if you will?
Well, I draw my sword and dagger, and I basically hold my ground. I step forward a few paces to give some room, and I receive their charge.
Right. Okay, so you step forward, sword and dagger drawn, and a sort of blocking blows and directly into combat with these men. Yep. Did you want to deliver a wound to them with your action?
I do.
Right. Okay, so I will need something to account for that. Yeah, I'll just use this. Okay, all right.
They're obviously backing the wrong side.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just choosing a trait and my weapon.
No. So you're just spending a raise. So that's the whole point of the raises. That's how it works, right? So you just spend raises. That's right. So, and until we exhaust all the raises, and when we exhaust the raises, then we start a new round and you roll again, and you can change your approach.
Oh, okay, all right.
So now you've chosen wits and athletics. So
yep.
So it's kind of, I imagine.
So I'm weaving amongst them, looking for openings.
And then sort of elbowing them in the face and kicking them over with feet while they're paying attention to your weapons, which are blocking their blows.
Yep.
Nice.
Exactly.
Okay, so yes, you see one of them falls, knocked unconscious by your blow as you slam your sort of elbow into their face. Next will be, it'll have to be the daughter, actually, because you had the pistol and you were planning to shoot someone just moments ago before we got into all of this. So you were planning to shoot the guy who was pointing the musket at you. Then you hear the blast behind you and you hear a crowd roar of reactionary, villains charging into the room. What do you do, Ekaterina?
Can I use, I'm not sure this, so can I use one of my raises, the 3 raises, can I use one of them to swing around and point my pistols at the mob and just start firing indiscriminately into them?
Absolutely, 100%. So you just turn around 2 pistols. Is that what we're saying now?
Let's go for the 2 pistols.
We've got the image of you holding 2 pistols, one in each hand, and you just go blam, blam. All right, because it's causing a dramatic wound, and I don't think this is written down anywhere, but it seems legit. I'm going to make it do 2 wounds to the mob, right? So you basically blast, and through a lucky shot, 2 of them go and get knocked over by the pistol fire. Okay. So you've knocked out 2 of them. There are 3 left in that group, and there are, to be clear, 6 in the other group. So there's 2 groups of 6 that we started with. You've now seen that go down. That's the daughter. The prince did the thing of opening up the secret door. Captain. Oh, my captain.
Okay. I'm guessing that being, the very, very lovely dramatic throne room that we're currently in,
Yep.
that there is a chandelier attached to a rope, like in all good adventure stories.
Of course, 100%. As a matter of fact, there's not one. I mean, come on. There's easily 5 running along the whole center
That's
of
fine.
the thing.
No.
Lit with candles in glass, in well-blown glass things. Because, of course, it's the Phoenician Commonwealth. They're famous for their glass,
Yeah, so I am going to send a quick apology to the tradesman.
Right,
And-
sure.
And use my sword to cut the rope that seems to be attached to the chandelier that's right above the mob.
Okay, so with
Hell
a
yeah.
deft race across the room, I'm going to ask you to spend 2 raises to do this, which I think is legit. So the first raise is to kind of sprint across the room, and the second raise and strike the rope, and the second raise is for the falling chandelier to crash amongst the brute squad, knocking them akimbo as you do so. So there's the mighty sound of rope snapping, and then a giant chandelier full of burning candles, just adding to the fire that is already licking around the room, collapses on top of a group. With that, I think we're going to say I'm going to. Okay. Were you targeting the group of men that had sort of already taken a number of hits and sort of were, shot and stabbed and, well, probably actually, if you did that, you'd probably potentially risk hitting Azucena with the falling chandelier, because she's now in amongst them. Or the other group
That's
that were
okay.
clambering to get
It
past.
would be that other group that was a little back further.
Clambering to get past. All right, so the chandelier falls amongst them. Some of them dive out of the way. Some of them don't. You seem to have taken out, at least I would suggest, I'm going to go with 3. I think that seems legit. So 3 of them have been smashed to the ground by the burning chandelier, knocked unconscious, while the other 3 scramble out of the way, look back at their prince, not at their prince, sorry, at their duke. And then he gestures, continue, and they're like, charge forward again. All right, so at this point, I think Bertrand, you were.
Yeah.
What do you do, Bertrand?
Well, I'm going forward to I'm protecting my sister here, and I mean, she's in the crossfire right now, so I'm gonna I'm gonna march forward and pull out my blades and easily cut down a couple of these folks. I'm gonna use my slashing duelist maneuver.
Yep. Which does 3 wounds.
It does 3 wounds because I have 3 in weaponry.
Yep.
And that's it. It's the most basic maneuver. It just does your ranks in weaponry.
All right, so you step forward, but describe it. What happens? I mean...
So I step forward, like I do it I've got flair to the whole thing. Like even if it's serious, I still have a little bit of like, I want people to like look at me and know I'm cool while I do this. So I step forward and whip out my blades, like throw my hair back as I do so. And then I run in and I slice them across like this and cut down 3 of the,
All right, so are you assisting Azucena, or are you taking out the 3 that were scrambling to their feet?
I'm taking out the 3 that were scrambling.
All right,
so they're
looking down at them as they.
These ones are fine.
So there are 3 of them sort of trying to clamber up. They look up just in time to see you go, ha! And then you dance through them, main Gorsh in one hand, fine epee in the other, or not epee, but saber in the other, and then
Raper,
quickly take all 3 down. Before they even get to their feet, they lie on the ground unconscious. You've smashed them in the face with main Gorsh and weapon. By the way, in case you haven't already worked it out, as a general statement, heroes don't stab people.
Yeah.
Like they do stab
Yeah.
people, but somehow
you know,
miraculously
it's like-
you very
it's-
rarely kill
it's-
people.
It's it's artistic.
It's artistic.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last three members of the Brute Squad. Actually, hold on, Dominica, we haven't asked you what you're doing. You swooned. Alexi has dragged you back to the secret exit. You see the Duke quickly stepping out of sight. No fool him. Sees that this is obviously not working in his favor. You can hear him yelling, "Men, men, to my arms!" In the background. And you can see that your brother has just dealt with 3 of the people, and then there's 3 left. But you're standing at the stairwell going down into the darkness below. What do you do?
I will utter one of those famous Reduction maledictions, screaming and pointing and carrying on in the best melodramatic fashion. I will wither your potatoes. I will bludgeon your grandmothers. I will peel your cats like oranges, and hopefully give the mooks pause as they press their attack.
Okay. What did you use for your raise? Oh, I don't have you.
Panache and intimidation.
Oh, panache and intimidation. Oh, perfect. Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. All right. I think that counts as, terrifying. So, one of them, there's 3 left, and one of them goes, "Oh, I've heard of these witches. They are not safe." And he drops his weapons and lifts his skirt and runs away at maximum speed towards the back of the building. All right, so there's only 2 Brute Squad left, which means I get to roll 2 dice at this point. The 2 Brute Squad members who are facing against Azucena and, Azucena, actually, because you're in hand-to-hand combat. So I roll 2 dice, not enough, probably. I get 1 raise. One raise. All right, so they leap upon you. Now, I have a feeling
That I can use a raise to parry or something.
I'm pretty sure that is indeed exactly what I was about to say. Yes, that you can use
Parry
a raise.
is another dueling maneuver.
It is, but I think you can also just
block.
block.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, hold on. I'll just go to.
Where are we? Consequences.
When a hero is injured, firearms, avoiding wounds. When you face a villain or hero in combat, they may spend raises to directly inflict wounds on heroes outside of consequences by immediately spending raises 1 for 1 outside of normal action order and saying your hero does to avoid the hurt. Please tell me, what do you do? 2 of them leap upon you.
Well, one closes in close, so I actually use my dagger to just push it away and opening up for the next strike.
Okay, so they basically tried to gang up on you, and you've managed to disable their attack by blocking one of them and preparing for the other
just
guy.
sidestepping out of the way of the other one.
Nice. Okay, so that is the end of the first raise round, as it were. So where we find ourselves, there are literally 2 of the 12 brutes who attacked you initially. By the way, just mention a hero point. Quirks. What's the captain's quirk? What is the captain's quirks?
Earn a hero point when you're the last one in your crew to safety.
Yeah.
Or earn a hero point when you give of yourself to demonstrate the warmth and compassion of the Vaticine Church.
Oh, that's nice.
Aw.
Excellent.
Okay.
Pretty well those thumb screws.
I'm not going to give you either of those right now. Okay. But I thought I'd just check in case,
You don't think that the warmth and compassion of the Vatican is coming through right now?
No, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. All right, so the building is now on fire,
That's
and
cool.
flames are licking around it. There's the stairwell going down. There's 2 members of the Brute Squad, but you can hear more men being summoned. So the last two Brute Squad members, I think at this point, will basically run away because it's literally we started with 12, we're now down to 2, and there's more of you than them, which is not how they like the odds.
Yeah.
So they will turn tail and run, particularly after having been terrified and intimidated by, nasty Striga. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is, are you all sort of funneling down the secret passage and escaping?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I'm happy for Eka to Vanna to stand as the last person with minding the doors with her guns.
No, you can't do that. You'll steal my hero point.
After you. No, after you. After you. Don't make me duel you.
No,
for
really,
this.
after you.
Right, so most of you run down the stairs, and and two members of the group stand at the top of the stairs, going, "No, you should go. No, you should go. I'm the captain."
Why
of
two
the ship."
captains can never be in the group.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I'm the captain of the ship. All right. So, do you actually stand there fighting over who gets to, who gets to be last? Because this is the sort of thing that I can easily believe. And by the way, who's leading?
I think I'm leading the way down because I know the way.
It's leading the way.
All right. So Alexi's leading the way down. So I'm assuming
Yeah.
the bodyguard and everyone else are kind of following.
But tell me if you do go last and you fall, because my thing of loyal means that I can go back for a fallen comrade for a hero point.
It could happen any second now. All right. So the flames are getting hotter and hotter. You're like sort of you're kind of traveling through voids in the walls, right?
Yeah.
Now flames are licking everywhere. You come out, and the two of you who stood at the top of the stairs, you can hear more feet running towards you. Do you stay to hold the line, or do you escape down the hole?
Yeah, no. The captain is going to push the lady, the fair maiden, down the stairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just pushing them
Go,
down
go.
the stairs. Go. All right. So you push them down the stairs. Okay. So now what happens is you come out, you're in an area that would normally have just been sort of like a runway, sort of a hidden hallway, if you will, almost made of wood that you could have traveled across easily. But now the fire and the flame have caught, and the area is on flame and fire. You can see you're going to have to make your way across this open burning space, not to give away too much, to get across. Now, the hallway itself has collapsed in the flame, and it now opens up into another largish room. Sorry, not a largish room. You've come out, the way I'm trying to think of it, you've come out onto effectively a stairwell. There's fire kind of licking up around the stairwell. Across the so you're in like one of those big circular towers. Across on the other side, you can see the stairwell continues down, but you've got to sort of cross, either you've got to go down the stairs and sort of dart around the flaming stairwell a bit to get down the stairs and risk falling through the stairs, or you need to sort of cross the open void to the other side of the tower space to make it safely. There's stairwell, there's banister, there's stairs above, stairs below. That's the other thing you could do. You can consider sort of dropping down within the spiral and catching. How you're trapped in fire and flame. Now, normally what we would do is we just like keep your razors and stuff, but we kind of did that for the other purpose. So I'm happy for people to now roll a different set or roll the same set again to sort of reset razors. So, but this is what
I've
you've
still
got
got
to escape.
2 razors left, and my thing is wits and
It's
athletics.
wits and athletics, which is pretty suitable, right?
Yeah.
Now, there are two wounds for consequences. So it's one. So I will just flag, and I am giving you the chance to re-roll to make that point. It's one raise to successfully complete. It's one raise per avoidance of wound. So describe how you're going to sort of escape or not escape, as it were, the risk, and then you use enough raises to get through the risk, and you can re-roll because some of you it doesn't really make a lot of sense because your previous rolls wouldn't really suit.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be stabbing my way out of this.
Well, you could.
Yeah. It's an option.
I can think of at least one way where dagger could be used to escape.
All right. Well, I'm basically navigating along these woodwork of the stairs and looking for points to jump, gaps to make.
Okay, so you're literally going
my two raises I'm actually spending on it.
So you're just going to dance down the stairway.
Yep.
Effectively, and dodge the broken bits and the flaming bits, and sort of artfully make your way around the whole space.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Cool.
you can do that legitimately with both raises gone.
Cool.
So,
Done.
I think I'm going to have to re-roll, but I'm going to do athletics with brawn.
okay, and don't forget you're large. So if you're going to do something that involves strength or reach, you can actually you can roll a bonus dice for being large.
Oh, okay.
Because
and can I?
I'm pretty sure Alexi's got large. And
I haven't checked.
And I
don't know where it's Russian.
I don't think he needs to spend a hero point to activate it. He does not.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm going to roll that, and I'm going to use some of my. Oh, so how many raises was it?
Head.
Okay, so you need 2 raises to escape the wound, the fire.
The fire. Okay. If Dominica doesn't get enough raises, I'm going to use one of my raises. Can I use one raise to help her and then like take a wound?
Absolutely. 100% you can do that.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to do that. So I'll ask you to roll. I assume it's brawn and athletics.
Yeah, they got 2 raises.
I got 2 raises. Yeah, which was not many. I was hoping for more. Anyway.
Did you add in the bonus dice for being large?
Yeah, I did.
Wow. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Everyone
That's
else.
fate for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just rolled with brawn and athletics again, and I got 3 raises, and I'm just using my silky spy sort of cat-like reactions to dodge falling flaming lumber and make my way down.
So you basically follow
exactly. The bodyguard.
Azucena.
Yeah.
Azucena.
So Ekaterina and Azucena both dance down the thing, dodging out of their way. What about Roberto? Roberto, what's going on?
Yeah, I re-rolled with resolve and athletics.
Yeah.
To get 2 raises and kind of attempt to leap down and follow them down the stairs, avoiding the worst of flames.
All right. And then Dominica. Looks like you got way more successes than Alexi.
Seeing the way that the flames are flickering and spiraling and dancing about, it seems perfectly appropriate that I should dance amongst the flames and thereby avoid getting burnt. So I will literally dance my way through the flames.
And I'm watching on in admiration, going, I was so ready to like help you and sacrifice myself, and look at you go.
That's right. And all through you're dancing through the flames, you can see yourself stepping into the flames, of course, because you're following, you're sort of using your fate skill to dodge it. So you can see where you step and burn yourself, but somehow you don't. All right. Alexi, what are you actually doing to escape? Everyone else danced down through the fire, but you're not maybe the most graceful person in the party. I don't know. Just saying.
So
Also, you
I'm-
didn't go for
Well,
grace.
I would like to say I haven't.
Oh,
'cause-
sorry.
Yeah. I went with a resolve and athletics roll as well.
Did you?
Yep, I did. And I think specifically my goal was make sure that the others get down. So I'm gonna, with a particular focus on Dominica and Alexi, because otherwise Dominica will be upset. So I think I'm gonna kind of grab Alexi and shove them down the hallway. the
Right.
right way, basically.
yeah, I mean, well, I'm going with brawn and athletics, so I'm just like, "Brr."
Yeah.
Like I'll drop down the stairwell if I need to. I'll throw myself across the void if that's what's needed. Like watching what everyone else is doing and then
Doing something
throwing
else.
myself after them. Basically.
They just barrel
All
in.
right, so you've all used up your razors. You've come out through the fire. You've covered yourselves. Some of you danced through the flames. Some of you looked and checked the way through. Some of you just kind of bobbed up, put your hands over your head, and ran down through the fire.
Yep.
Hey,
But
noddy through the inferno.
That's right. But somehow all of you escaped unharmed. Should have spent a danger point and made it hard for you. But anyway. All right. So you come down through the stairwell. You've escaped, you think. You followed the secret passage. The secret passage, of course, opens up into the graveyard of kings. Because what would be more appropriate than coming out through the mausoleum? I'm asking for a friend. I'm challenging you to think of a different way. All right. You come out confident that you've escaped, the villainy of the Duke and these reactionaries, which will officially be their formal title from here on in. You open the doors of the mausoleum. You step out into the darkened night. In the distance, and I should have actually, sorry, I was meant to have activated a different scene, which I completely failed to do. That's quite embarrassing. Hold on. Activate. So we get,
Is that Windsor Castle being burned down?
It actually is Windsor Castle being burnt down, yes. I
Nice.
went looking for, burning castles, and this was the best one that I could find.
As the Revolutionary Irish Republican, don't give me promises that you can't keep.
It's a fair comment. It's a fair comment, and I have nothing to add to that. But I did think, noting previous conversations we've had about the death of Queen Elizabeth, that you might not be disappointed to see Windsor Castle on fire. So, there was that. Okay, so I'll just turn the volume down slightly. But all right, so you guys have come out in the mausoleum. You can see fire in the distance. You can see Vasa Castle on fire. Alexi, the nobles are revolting.
They are revolting. I don't like them anymore.
They don't deserve their authority, Alexi. Everything that you've done makes sense now in the light of this fire. The fact that you might have precipitated a massive political crisis in your own country, possibly causing the inevitable collapse of it as a single unified force, has nothing to do with it. You are the James Holden of Seven Seas.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to have watched or read The Expanse to get that comment, but I think it is valid. All right. You step out into the darkness, free finally of the risk of the danger that was surrounding you, when suddenly you see a group of King's Guard approaching you in the darkness. You see Philip Kamiga, captain of the Royal Sarmatian Guard, giant hussar. He's wearing his hussar breastplate. He's got the sort of big feathered wing shapes kind of coming off the back, the imperial colours, the royal colours, gracing his side cloak that hangs over one shoulder, of course. Stalking forward toward you, holding a torch, his men following behind him, also dressed in royal guard costume. He looks at you and he says, I knew that you would seek to use the secret passage. And I'm sorry, my prince, but you've made a grave error. Your ideas are too dangerous for this kingdom. They go against the very nature of civilized society. He pivots on his heel and strides towards the castle, making an impatient gesture to a collection of Sabat soldiers and royal guards, shouting out, seize them! The guards all gather together and charge towards you.
That's
I know,
not
and
gonna
you know
happen.
what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my disarming smile.
Okay, now...
and actually, I should have done that just before he told them to attack me.
Well, if you would like, now that this will cost you a hero point. Disarming smile, I'm pretty sure, has a cost.
Yeah, it does. It does cost a hero point. I'm going to spend my hero point right now.
Okay. Now, I think the way it says a character, but look, these are brute squads, so fair point. He's not sticking around, so he's not actually seeking, he's not going to commit violence.
Yeah, so
himself.
I think first thing is I would have used the disarming smile on the Hussar guy, before he called for the men to actually attack me while they were threatening.
Okay. Now
I was in there.
Now the bad news is he's a villain.
Oh, so is
so.
Oh.
Okay. No. You can use it. No. That's
okay.
That's not what it means. That's cool. So he's going to. So you basically. So explain what you do. What do you say? I mean, disarming smile. What are you doing?
Okay, so he's making this. I've made a grave mistake, and I'm like, I'm gonna give him that disarming smile and be like, "You're right. I have made a mistake. I'm taking myself away from this place."
Okay. All right. So
I'm like, I haven't made a mistake, but you know.
Yeah, I know you're lying.
Yeah,
I get that. I sense that you might not believe what you're telling him. He hesitates for a moment. My prince, what do you intend to do then?
I shall make this right. I don't know how yet, but let me pass, and I shall be gone from this place. I will see my father's vision through of the Sumatran Commonwealth rising to glory. That will be my driving force.
But hold on, didn't your father ennoble all the peasants? Wasn't that? Oh.
Yes, he did. That was explicitly something that he did.
That was explicitly what his vision for the future was, wasn't it? Wasn't that explicitly his vision for the future? Because that's what the guy who's talking to remembered.
Glory for the Sumatran Commonwealth. That was my father's vision.
Glory through greater empowerment of its peasantry. Okay.
I do believe it's Samantaran, isn't it, or something like that, as compared to Java, Sumatran.
Summation.
Yes.
So he so you're not gonna be able to convince him not to attack you, sorry, or not to unleash the brute squads.
You are the brute squad.
That's right. But he looks at you for a second and he says, my prince, if you surrender yourself peacefully to my men, there will be no need for violence to your companions.
Oh. Look at that, I draw my sword.
I will spend a danger point for that.
I'm already have my sword out. What do I say? I'm like, I'll leap to the attack.
All right. I will give you back your hero point because your quirk is, I think, that if you can prove that there's a greater vision for, that being a noble means more than just being, rich and a bastard.
Yes.
I'm paraphrasing. So I will grant you a hero point because, you've made a decent effort to convince him to do better. He's just not buying. Okay, so guys, it's a straight up. So he basically retreats. Now, he's retreating away from you. He's unleashed his squads. So these 3 groups of Royal Guard. Now, the way I'm going to run the Royal Guard is it's actually, there's less of them, but even though they're a brute squad, but they're actually really well trained. Like they're highly efficient. They're actually professional soldiers. They're not a bunch of, crappy people. So they're attacking en masse. Now, the bad news is there's 3 squads this time, each comprised of 8 members. Like it's actually 4 members per squad, but I'm going to treat them as 8 because they're just that good. So it's another fight scene, I'm afraid. Can I get declarations of intent, please? Which is, of course, the trait plus the skill.
So I'm going to use convince with my brawn.
Okay.
To basically be like, how dare you attack me? You are the royal guard and I'm your prince and you should not be doing this. And I'm trying to stand up for our people and stop what you are doing. And I'm still going to attack them, but
Sure. But you're trying to kind of cower them into,
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to suggest that if you do that, first of all, you can use your large bonus because you're kind of kind of threatening them effectively. So that's a bonus dice for large. Plus, it's the first time you've used the skill, I think.
Yeah.
So that's an extra bonus dice. So you're effectively getting 2 bonus dice.
Cool.
To your race. So that's you dealt with. Okay, so rest of you, anyone else wanting to use one of their advantages or anything like that? This is the time to think about that before you get too far in. Yes.
I would, just out of curiosity, how many of them would you say are maybe neutral and only following orders?
They're Royal Guard, so they probably believe they're following orders. But they're pretty establishment, let's
They're
be
chosen men, most likely, they're Royal Guard.
Yeah. But there's probably a few. There's definitely going to be a few who are sort of in the crowd, if you will, doing it because the others are telling them to do it or because they're afraid to be called out.
Because I do have the advantage. If I spend a hero point, I can inspire a group to action. And the group must be able to hear me, but if they can and they're of neutral or better disposition, they can do whatever I command so long as it is long as it's reasonable.
Okay, what would you like them to do? Because this possibly boils down to what you think is reasonable.
I think they should just stand down.
This isn't your fight, men.
Yes, this is not your fight. This is simply politics and not part of your duty. Your duty is to protect the prince. You are not protecting the prince. So you have a choice here to commit treason or to stand down.
Okay, so that's going to obviously, I'm so happy for you to spend the hero point to have a crack. What I will also ask you to do is what trait and skill are you going to use for raises?
I am going to go with convince and wits.
Okay, yep, that seems legit to me. So have you used convince and wits already? Have you used convince before? I don't think you have you?
I haven't used convince, no.
Okay, so you'll get a bonus dice for using convince for the first time. And we'll treat with the leadership check in a second. So next, I might ask the duelist, Bertrand.
Yeah, that's me.
What you doing, Bertrand? Bertie?
Yeah. I actually am thinking I'm going to try intimidating. So I want to scare at least some of these guards into leaving us alone.
So
Yeah.
how are you going to intimidate them? What is your... Actually, I should ask that when you get to raises. So,
Yeah.
all right. So you're going to use intimidate, which
Yep.
you haven't used yet. So once again, bonus dice.
Yeah.
And of course, you choose the trait you think
Yep.
is
And
most
I'm going to be
appropriate.
using intimidate and panache, I think.
No, nice.
Yep.
Iketabana. What?
I might also spend a hero point, and I've got
Ooh.
a advantage called extended family,
Yes,
which is
you do.
where I can reveal a distant cousin who lives nearby, who can help with materials, information, or shelter.
Yeah,
And my distant cousin Sergei,
yeah.
who is a sable, he's nominally a sable merchant
Right.
in the town, but actually he's an Usarian or Ursian spy. We knew we might be coming out this side due to the reactionary counter-revolutionaries.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have he's stockpiled under a sort of like hidden in some bushes near the exit to the passageway. He's stockpiled some Molotov cocktails.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
Which I'm going to, if things really hit the fan, start tossing at the royal guards using my
Nice.
aim, using my finesse and aim.
Okay, which I think we've used before, so you don't
Yes,
get a
no
bonus
bonus.
dice. No, but all right, I like it. So there's a hidden stock of Molotov cocktails just outside the door that Sergei left there in case you ran into trouble.
Of course, in this universe, Molotov never existed, so they're called something completely different.
Of course. Well, we're pre-Molotov. We're
Exactly.
pre-Molotov.
Yeah.
And then finally, not last, certainly, Dominica.
Yes, I shall cling to my prince and implore the guards that he is doing this all for them, ennobling the common man, and please reconsider attacking us, and I'll use panache and convince, and hopefully I will have a raise which I can then use to bestow a blessing.
Oh, it's time for magic. Nice. Okay.
So that's
Also, I've got to declare as well.
Oh, yes, sorry.
So
I'll
Yep.
I'll plant
Go
a
ahead.
kiss on the prince's shoulder, and I will spend a hero point. And can I take 3 lashes to give the prince 3 bonus dice?
You can. That means you have 3 lashes, though.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Sure. So I can't remember. Does that mean you take the wounds immediately, or is it only when you resolve the lashes?
It's when I resolve the lashes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But you can spend a danger point to negate some of my dice.
Yeah. So when you do that, you actually have black kind of strands coming out from you. Like when you manipulate fate in this way, it's actually reasonably obvious that you're manipulating fate. Okay, cool. And then finally, not last, Azucena.
all right, Azucena mutters "La muerta los reclamará" and disappears in amongst the gravestones and the like. She's using wits and hide to actually find opportune targets to take down from the grave.
Okay, so from the darkness, he will spring out a la Batman
Exactly.
style. Nice.
So if all the other characters who are talking are saying about the guard should leave before it gets bad, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the bad that's lurking around there.
Right. So you know the scene in, I think it's in the first of the 3 sort of
Mummy
Batman movies. Yeah,
I
where
was
he's in the
thinking the
docks.
mummy movies with the pygmies.
I'm thinking of the Batman scene where he's all over
Yeah.
the moving shipping containers, and every now and then someone just disappears.
Yep, that's the idea.
Right. Okay.
So
all
that's
right.
that's gonna be wits and hide.
Nice. Okay. So The guards charge forward. Can I get, wow, 5 raises. Wow, 4 raises. Wow, okay. Wow, 5 raises. Oh no, that was the same
That's
5
the first
raises.
time I've used that skill,
Yeah.
so that's a bonus dice.
Oh, the captain, you did. Wow. Oh, wow. 3. Wow. That's a lot of ones. Okay.
4 raises for me. Excellent.
Excellent. Okay. So, my captain spent a willpower point though. So I'm going to let them go
Wow.
first, even though they only have 1 raise, because you were using your. Come on, buddies. All right. So I think the way it works is you're able to persuade. So remember how I was saying it's kind of 4 guards per squad, even though they kind of represent as 8 people because they're just better. So it'll cost you a raise, right? It costs you a raise to do the action. So it'll be your only action for this round. But it's just blood blessings. So you shouted out this, it's not really your fight. Of the 4 guards who are approaching your sort of area, 2 of them sort of go, you know what, she's got the captain's got a point, or the weird foreigner's got a point is probably the more correct language that they use. Right. And 2 of them sort of go, I'm sorry, mate, we're not in for it. And they step out of the fight.
Nice.
That's good. It takes down a strength of 4 if 2 of them go right.
Yep, that's right.
So that's, hey,
right,
better than nothing.
So 2 of them take their step. Okay, so now we will go with raises. And the person with the most raises is the duelist. Bertrand.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Bertrand, who is intimidating. Bertrand is stepping forward and kind of showing off his bloodstained from inside blades. And, kind of going, look, you don't really want to fight us. This is, this wouldn't be fair to you. I think it would just be better for everyone on the whole if you let us pass by.
Okay, so with 5 raises, obviously, the way I'm going to do it is effectively you inflict a wound per raise.
Mm-hmm.
So intimidate people away.
Yep.
So I guess the question is, how many do you want to hold on to, and how many do you want to burn?
I am going to hold on to. I'll burn 3. I'll hold on to 2.
Okay, all right. No, that's fine.
Yep.
Are you doing it to the 2 guys that are left in the one group, or are you going for one of the other groups?
I'm going for one of the other groups.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
When can you actually aid somebody?
Actually you can't. That's an interesting point, because you kind of need to declare it. Yeah, we'll have to think about how that works at the beginning, I think. Because you add the dice, right?
Yeah, and one of my bonuses is I give them 4 dice instead of 3. So the plan would be that I would be causing distractions to the men around them, so that our duelists can get better strikes.
Okay.
And that's a hero point to spend that. I mean,
well, I'll let you
next
do
round,
it. If you want to spend a raise and just do it, I'm happy to roll 4 dice and work out how many raises you add, which can go straight to the duelist.
Well, it's not a right. Well, I mean, it's a hero point to aid the allies, so they gain 4 dice instead of 3.
Yeah, which means they then roll to see how many raises they get.
Yeah.
So do you want to do that?
Yeah, sure. Let's play around with that.
All right. So Jason, are you happy for me to roll 4 dice and see what it looks like?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. You got effectively another raise because you got. Is there any other way to add that up? Actually, hold on. No, because that just ends up being smaller, doesn't it? Yeah. So you got another raise because you got a 7, a 3, a 4, and a 2.
Okay.
So the
nice.
7 and the 3 adds to another raise. So you could spend another raise and intimidate a little bit more if you wanted.
Yeah, I think I will.
As Batman will.
Yeah. You really don't want to fight us. We're
All
very
right.
scary. Yeah.
Sorry, that had to be said, Batman. Well, okay,
Batman
all right.
well.
All right. So basically, one guy was wavering, and then you see a dark, shadowy form encasing him, drag him away. Ah! All right. So that's that. So that's your raise, their raise. Striga.
Yes.
Oh, you did the blessing. You did the
I
blessing.
did the blessings.
Yeah.
So the prince has 3 bonus dice that he can spend at any point during the scene.
Ah,
As a
okay.
major blessing.
All right.
So is that 3 extra dice or 3 raises?
3 extra dice.
Dice.
Right.
Do you want me to roll for you?
Right, that's
Yes,
fine.
please. That'd be great.
And actually, you've got an unused dice. So what's your unused dice? Looks like it's used the 2 3s. Used the 2
Rerolled 6
5s,
and got
used the 8
9. I think it's
You've
a
got
9,
a 9
actually.
You've got a 9 left over.
Yeah.
All right, that's good to know because when we add the 9 to these 3, you're inevitably. Oh, wow. Okay. So that gives you 2 additional raises.
Nice.
Cool. So I've got 6 raises. So can I convince some of these royal guard to step back and
Yeah.
not fight
So
us?
once again, I'm going to let you use raises effectively to cause the equivalent of wounds, which just represents how many of the brute squad you can convince to kind of, well, you intimidate, I think, because you're threatening them basically. You know, would you lay your hands upon the royal, you know, person? And kind of, you know, these men have been conditioned their whole lives.
Me?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I'm going to spend 4 raises on convincing them.
Okay, so is that once
Just hold
again,
back
is that
2.
another, is that the 3rd squad or is it one of the 2 squads who've already been kind of intimidated?
The 3rd squad.
Wow, okay, all right. Well, 2 more of them drop away then. Okay, so Captain, you've moved, Julius, you've moved, Prince, you've moved. I think the only person who hasn't moved is the daughter.
And I just want to start tossing Molotov cocktails.
Everyone else is
We
like,
warned you.
do you really want to conflict with me? And in the background, it's like click, 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 throw.
You shouldn't have shown him that image of Windsor Castle.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's
Behaviour,
right.
so regret. Okay, so you throw a flaming Molotov cocktail, you hit one of the guards, who I'll declare is now, you know, kind of on fire, and take him out. So basically causing 2 wounds with the fire, because it's kind of dramatic wound material, I think. In addition to thing, you're a fan of things that go boom, aren't you? All right, so that leaves me with 2 lots of 4 and 1 lot of 2. So the way this works then is I can roll those as attacks. So I should have rolled this. So, oh wow, that's 2 raises. Wow. Okay. Okay, so the first one causes. Oh, sorry, they don't roll. What am I doing? They just cause wounds. They just cause wounds. Yes, that's how it works. They just cause wounds. Okay, so Brute Squad 1 is going to cause 4 wounds. Brute Squad 2 is going to cause 4 wounds. Brute Squad 3 is going to cause 2 wounds. So to determine that, so that means 4 wounds are dealt to. Who was the first person to intimidate?
I was.
You were. No, it was the captain.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
So, Captain, the brutes land upon you. You've been trying to convince them that violence isn't the way. Violence is the path to darkness, my friends. Surrender. Do not. Is this really your fight to be involved in? And then 4 of them pile upon you and smash you to the ground. Take 4 wounds. Okay. Second brute squad hits. Actually, it does hit you, doesn't it, Duelist? Now you can parry that.
Only on my action, but yes, I can. Prevent a number of wounds equal to my ranks in weaponry.
Oh wow! Okay,
Nice. That's impressive.
because you've
After
got you can spend
the
race.
maneuver that causes my wounds.
Well, this is the maneuver that's causing the wounds.
yes. So once it goes through, then I can use my parry.
Okay, so you're going to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you currently have 4 wounds. If you reduce it by your weaponry skill, it'll go down to
Which
1
is
wound.
3.
Yeah.
I'll have 1 wound. Yeah.
But that'll be your raise. That'll be your whole raise. You won't get to do anything else that round.
Yeah.
That raise. Set. And then the last one, it's 2 people. They're loyal to the core, to the guard captain Philippe, and they cause you 2 wounds, Alexi.
Oh, 2 wounds.
Bastards.
How could they?
I don't know. They obviously think they're tougher than they really are. All right.
Those 2 people on my next target.
I imagine they
As your
are.
guard.
All right, so then we go back to the raises again. So I'll just step through it. So it was Dominica. If you, oh no, hold on, no, it wasn't. It was the duelist, Bertrand.
I think
5.
technically the captain went first, but
Yeah, but we did that
But-
out
right.
of order.
Okay,
That's all
yep.
right.
All right.
He doesn't have any razor left.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I had 2 races left. I used one of them to parry.
No, that's your action then.
That's my
You used
action
the
then.
parry
Yeah,
to-
I used it to parry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you took 1 wound.
Yep.
Okay, did you take 1 wound?
I did. I put it
Excellent.
on my sheet.
Okay. Okay. Then that's your raise. So you've parried. Is there anything associated with the parry? So can you do? Does it set you
It
up in
just
any way?
says, no. I just immediately block wounds.
Okay. All right. So
Yep.
you've done that.
Yep.
Then we're up to the 4 raise mob. So Azucena, you did
Um,
say you were going to take out the 2 that were attacking Alexi?
Yep, so I'm committing my 4 raises to actually taking out both of those guards that attacked the prince.
Okay, so you step through and through. You actually only need 2 raises. For the
Okay,
guards.
so cool. I step out of the darkness and take
So
them
you
down.
spent 1 raise last round because you did the Batman World thing, and you've
Yep.
now spent 2 raises to take out the last 2 guards in that group.
Yep.
So they
So
are
got
now
1 left.
completely gone. That's fine. There's 2 groups left, each with 4. You can see that the duelist is busy blocking blows left, right, and center, and you've seen the captain go, ah! It's smashed to the ground. Okay. Can I get the Strider? Dominica, what would you like to do?
I think I'll scoop up a weapon that's been dropped, and because obviously noblewoman can use a weapon that she picks up off the
Absolutely.
ground.
Of course. You're
That-
not, you're not.
That's how adventure works.
It is. You probably have learned how to use. I mean, I don't know. Do you have weaponry as a skill?
I do have 3 points in weaponry, but
So actually, you're
it's a
pretty.
bonus.
Okay.
But
And you're very
That's
good
a
at
good
this,
idea.
actually.
You
Yeah,
had a
some
lot
will.
of
That's
time
works.
sitting around in
I'm
that.
barely skilled. I don't even really know what I could do with this. That's why I bought my brother. Hold on.
But you've never actually killed anybody or harmed anybody with a weapon because it was all training.
That's right. Good point. Well
It's
done.
all theoretical.
It is all theoretical. All right. So would you like to use a raise to strike someone with the weapon then?
yes, I will use a raise to strike
Okay.
one of the guards and protect my love.
Okay. Well, he's actually pretty protected because all the people who are attacking him are unconscious or retreating. But there are people attacking the best friend of your brother, who's
They'll do.
they're beating him down.
Yeah.
Okay, you cause a wound to one of them. They're down to 3. Can I get a action from who's left? The prince.
I think me. I haven't acted. I've got 2 razors left.
Yes, but the prince goes before you because the prince had 4 raises to start with, so they had more raises
Yeah.
than you.
Yeah.
Well,
They are
that's
the
me.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I am
It's
the
people
prince.
with most raises
Yeah.
who goes next, but that. Oh, sorry, you are the prince. What am I saying? Yes, good point.
Yeah.
Well made. Yes, after you, Alexi. What would you like to do?
So
Whatever.
How many people are left facing you, Bertrand?
Oh, I mean, there are 4 of them, but
They're barely able to touch them.
yeah.
All right, then I think
Easy.
I'm going to go directly for the hussar. Like,
Oh no,
I'm
he's
really-
run away. He's retreated.
Oh, goodness sake.
You would have to follow him into the darkness.
I'm
Alone.
not doing that yet.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no. No, but then I could. No, I can't.
What about
I'm
the captain?
torn. No,
What about
I'm
the
going to
captain?
attack those who are going for our captain.
Yeah. Okay. So you leap upon them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'll use my last 2 races on them.
Oh, okay. You're going to burn both. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So they're down to 1. That'll make the captain happy. I think is that everyone?
I had 2 raises. Did I use the last?
Oh
did
no,
I
you
use one of
used
them?
1 raise last
Used
round, so
one?
you've got 1
I
raise.
got to know.
So this,
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of similar, but this time I just want to do something with a bit of panache. So I want to throw. She throws a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah.
Shouts catch at one of the guard. He catches it. It's not even lit, and then she shoots it with a gun, and it explodes.
No.
Spraying him with oil and other
Exactly.
things and shooting him in the process. All right, that's beautiful. All right, so he catches it. The glass shatters all over him and then catches fire, and you see him running off into the darkness, trying to put out the flames rather than fight this fight. Now, was he the last one that was attacking the captain, or was he the one of the 4 that's engaged in conflict with the
I think from a
duelist?
safety perspective, he was one of the 4.
Okay.
4. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So then it's the brute squad's turn. 1 wound for the captain. 3 wounds against the duelist. Now,
Yeah.
duelist, you will know
Yes.
that you can't use the same action twice in a
No,
row.
I cannot. I cannot parry for a second time. So, let me double check something. Oh no, that just means that I'm better at dealing with wounds. Okay, yep. So I take another 3 wounds, was it?
Yep. Just
Yep,
take it on
cool.
the chin.
Yep.
All right. Who's got razors left?
I've got one.
Yeah, I've got 1.
Okay, so Jules,
I
you've got
do not.
1. And
Azucena has 1.
Azucena has 1.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that everyone? I think that's everyone, right? He's got, Yep. Okay, great. Then what are your actions, guys?
Yeah, okay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go for repost.
Repose?
Riposte.
Yep.
Repost.
Riposte.
Repost. Yep.
So what does that do?
Okay. So actually I am gonna prevent some wounds. What I do is I prevent a number of wounds equal to my rank in weaponry and deal a number of wounds equal to my rank in weaponry.
Yep. It's a parry and strike.
Yep. I can do it only once per round. But I'm doing it now. So I prevent 3 wounds and deal 3 wounds.
Sorry, you prevent 3 wounds and you deal 3 wounds.
Yep.
And how does that? Sorry, so
Okay, so it says here,
yeah.
when you perform it, you prevent a number of wounds equal to your ranks in weaponry and deal a number of wounds equal to your ranks in weaponry. You can perform it on your action only. Must perform it immediately following the maneuver that caused the
Okay,
wound.
so you're actually
Yeah.
absorbing.
She's
And-
literally parried every attack and thrust back and killed, well, and inflicted a point on the opponents,
Yeah.
each opponent.
Okay, so they basically stab at you. Not only so you twisted each of their weapons out of the way and ran all 3 of them through at the same time.
Yeah.
Right, they all collapse away from you. So the duelist.
I told them that
stands
this
up.
wasn't a fight they wanted to do.
That is so
Absolutely.
Inigo Montoya.
So
Yeah.
yes, it's like you killed my father. Prepare to die. So yes, it is the scene where he fights all the guards when he dives into the
Yep.
middle of the corridor and there's all the guards and he
Exactly
takes them all
it.
out in a
That's
heartbeat.
right.
Okay, so that leaves 1 person standing as Azucena.
All right.
1 brute.
time to just throw a dagger into its chest.
Right. Okay. So you just flick the dagger across the open space into the side of his neck, I think, because he's got this big metal
Yep.
breastplate. Oh, maybe in the side of the
Yeah.
breastplate, under the arm. You know, it's a very vulnerable
Under
area.
the-
right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, there's no armor there, my friend. No armor at all.
Exactly. So
Okay, the last of them falls away. You stand. The open cemetery before you. You know that the city has become unsafe for you, Alexi, and you will no doubt attract
Oh
more
goodness. Yes.
attention. Luckily, you have a ship's captain with you who has a ship.
and is intact.
Hey!
And with that,
Excellent.
you flee the city, realizing that you need a safe harbor to collect what you need to do next and where you need to go. You make the very sound decision to return to your betrothed's family holdings in Verdace. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Everyone knows
Yes.
that Verdace, trade noble families are literally the epitome of honor, loyalty, honesty. They're world famous for it.
Oh yeah.
Scoundrels, you'd like them.
All right. So at that moment, and I'll just what am I failing to do? I'm failing to use this. All right. Okay. You sail into the harbor city of your noble family on the Verdace coastline. And I can't tell you what the name of that city is because I've bloody forgotten. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's a very pretty picture. I hope you appreciate that. And if you haven't
It's
noted,
kind of
there's-
Dutch in a way.
Yeah, it probably is a bit Dutch, but let's not dwell. Just grabbed a nicest painting of, kind of, it's kind of Dutch. Could be, yeah, probably is. Anyway, let's not dwell. All right. And that is where we end the first session of the Seven Seas.
That's done.
Next session will be much more about the dramatic scene as you try and make diplomatic maneuvers and possibly outmaneuver other forces to gather supporters to to escape the threat. There you go.
Nice.
Excellent.
Nice.
End of
Love that.
session.
Such a good. I love that system.
went-
Great.
It went a lot more smoothly than I'd anticipated.
Exactly. I totally agree. I thought it was
Oh,
when you were explaining at the beginning, Thomas. I was like, I don't know how this works. We just have to play, and it plays really well.
Do you see why though it's so hard to come at? Because what I described is how it's written.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had to read the actual playthrough 3 times and go, hold on a second. You get raises at the beginning and then you just spend raises to do shit.
Yeah.
Right. Because I kept on thinking you had to roll the skill and the trait for everything. And it's like, no. You set an approach for that series of activities, whether that's dramatic or... And I think it's interesting because they kind of split dramatic and action, but it's also a bit unnecessary, right? Because all it's really saying is there are things you're going to want to do that are dramatic and you need to spend a raise to do them. Like to simplify the entire conversation. That's kind of what's being said, right? Look, it goes better. I do want to make the point we're playing only one duelist. We're playing only one magic user. And where I think the system has challenges is in the magic system in particular, because every spell system is completely different. And so it's quite hard to bring them together. Like I GM'd a number of people and some of them had magic and it was a little hard.
But so they're not all flagellants.
No, they're not all flagellants. The Avalonians get they're paragons. The Avalonians are paragons.
Oh yeah.
They're sort of like the reincarnated knights of Arthur.
Yeah.
Literally. Summation mages summon demons that
That's
they
right.
then make deals with to get things done. Asurans do Actually, I think it's changed in the new rules. They used to be shapeshifters, but I have a feeling it's something else now. I think they
Okay.
have also made deals with Baba
Turning into
Yaga, basically.
animalists.
Yeah.
Ison mages basically do necromancy. Like they reconstitute body parts and other things. There's, I can't remember if the fire mage thing is still a thing for the Castilians. They have fire magic, or they used to have fire magic. And then you've got port sorcerers who are teleporters. So the Montaigne mages do portal magic and jump between places and can hide things in little nooks and crannies of extra dimensional space. But they can also do the thing where they put their hand through like a hole and do stuff. They can do the whole I reach my arm across the room by porting between the 2 points, and I do weird things to people. They can also tear you apart with port magic. Like they can,
Do the whole, I'll open up a portal inside your chest cavity.
just to see what happens. Because one of the things to note about port mages is they tend to be high nobility. So they're not loved. Because the French are bad in this game. As in the French nobility are bad. They're kind of the villains. All right. So as long as you guys enjoyed it, I thought it worked really well. Did you have fun?
Absolutely.
Swashbuckling? You know,
And it
heroes?
means you can do your raises based on your own sort of style and what you want to, your character would kind of do, which is good. So,
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I'm not quite sure, and once again, it's probably we're sort of sailing over a few bits of complexity here. But the other thing I'd call out is that whole idea of aiding other people. Like you kind of need to declare it before anything happens.
Yeah.
If you follow the logic of the way the dice rolling is meant to work, but that doesn't make any sense, right? Because, but if I'm aiding you, I'm using a raise to aid you, but that means I've already moved, and now I'm giving you bonus dice. Which was what we were dealing with, right? So
Is it like is it like a low rolls declares, and so you go from like lowest number of raises to highest, and then
no, it's actually
resolve from the highest to lowest.
You go from highest to lowest. It's always highest to lowest. So each round, it's the person with the most raises who goes first. So it can actually change, but because you saw a couple of people using 2 raises to do things within a single move. So that drops you by 2, right? So you can actually cease to be the top of the pile by
kind of makes sense because you might exhaust yourself doing multiple raises.
Sure.
So
anyway, so it was cool.
It's good. It was cool.
Yeah. And next round, next session, we'll play the kind of the dramatic ball thing. I will admit, noting that if I do the math, it's the 3rd today. Let me just do this math now. Next one's the 17th, and then the 3rd. Wow, it's almost December, eh? And then there's a 3rd weekend, which is the 1st of December. And then myself and Jason jet off to Europe for a month. And I was going to put a slight pause. Look, there's probably enough in this to run 3 sessions. When I say probably, there's definitely enough to run 3 sessions. So are people comfortable if we kind of just do 3 sessions of this rather than try and adhere to the 2 sessions?
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
I think
It's
really
better
fun.
than try to sustain a 2 session over the Christmas break.
and you have to set up something new. That's right.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
doesn't
Alright,
want to
cool.
lean into every Sunday matinee movie they've ever watched?
Yeah.
Well, that's the point of the game, right?
Yes.
It's like, what do you do? It's like,
The Seahawk. That's right.
That's right. It's the Seahawk. Or what's the one where he takes out the Tortugan pirates? Is that the Seahawk?
Yeah, I think so.
Right, it is.
The
Yeah.
Seahawk's the classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the one where he's the Royal Navy captain and he takes out the Tortugan pirates, having pretended to be a pirate himself. Anyway,
Nice.
I've
updated the notes.
Nice.
Nice.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
So
for your
much,
time.
that's really fun. Thanks so much for running us.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No worries.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I got to
Okay.
cut
Good
the
night,
chandelier.
That's right. Cut the rest of the chandelier.
Yeah.
All
What
right.
more could you want?
Night.
Night.
Night.